Let's talk about the quarterback. Probably the hardest position in all of professional sports. He not only has to be able to take a handoff, he's got to be able to throw the ball. Can he read a coverage? Can he handle a blitz? Can he change a protection? The job is never ending. He also has to manage 10 players in a huddle. He's got to exude leadership. I think of Boomer Esiason when I say that comment, because Boomer Esiason, not only did he have the ability to lead players, when I coached Boomer, he took that offensive line every Wednesday night and drilled them over and over again. Can you handle that kind of work? Do you have the work ethic to play quarterback? It's not all just about skills. We've seen guys like Jamarcus Russell come in this game, no work ethic, and they're gone. Let's talk about the quarterback. And if you're the backup quarterback, you get no reps in practice, but you're asked to win the football game if you have to go in. The route tree. It's the opportunity for the receivers, whether it's the wide receiver X, the wide receiver Z, the slot receiver, the tight end, not the running backs necessarily, but those other receivers. When you declare a number route to them and they understand where they are in the sequence, that tells them what route to run. So let's talk about the route tree itself. Think of a stick, an arrow at the top. All the even number routes are going to be routes inside as we run towards the middle of the football field. 0, by the way, turns out to be an even number in this system. 0 is a slant route. 2, as the number gets higher, the route is deeper. 2 is a stop route about 6, 7 yards. 4 is an in route. Some of you would call it a square in, old-fashioned football fans. 6 is a curl in route. 8 is a post route. Let's get to the odd side. All these routes will go to the boundary side. 1 is a quick out. 3 is an out route, and it's what we call the NFL route. You got to be able to run that route at 20 yards. If you want to throw the ball to the guy, you can run a 3 route. Now you're going to get a job in the NFL. 5 is a curl out route. 7 is a flag route, and we want to run that route right to the corner flag of the touchdown on the goal line. And 9 is a fly route. So think about this now. Higher the number, deeper the route. Even numbers, inside. Odd numbers, outside. Let's get into some offensive play calling. Now, a lot of things happen before we get to the line of scrimmage and call that play, and we'll be at the whiteboard in a second. But first, the play has to come into the huddle. What kind of huddle is it? Is it a muddle huddle? People lining up on the line of scrimmage, forcing the defense to line up? Is it a traditional huddle where we're in there, we're going to talk the play over and come to the line of scrimmage? Or is it no huddle? Pay attention to those things. We'll get back to them later in the show. From there, let's talk about the count. When a quarterback comes to the line of scrimmage, does he want to go on a quick count and catch the defense off? Is he going to run that count long, try to identify where the defense is going to want to go before the ball is snapped? A lot of things go into consideration here. Let's talk about motion. We might use some motion. In the play we're going to go to next, not a lot of motion. Peyton Manning's a quarterback who doesn't like motion. Why? He doesn't want that defense to change. He wants to take that photo snap in his mind of what's going to happen next. With that in mind, let's go to the board. Let's talk about language. If you're a John Gruden player, you played for the Tampa Bay Bucks, lots of long words. Tough on young quarterbacks. I'm going to show you a language that's used by a lot of people, introduced really by the Parcells group. It's simple, it's easier to learn, it puts the routes for the passing game in numbers, and when you see how we run one football play for you, you too, the fan, can understand what an offensive play looks like in the National Football League. So let's get up to the board. The play is good. We're going to first identify the formation. I, weak, right. By saying I, weak, we're talking about a 2-back set. The tailback is in an I formation. That's right behind the quarterback. Weak tells the fullback to go to the opposite side of the tight end. I, weak. By declaring right, we tell the tight end where to line up. That's the strength of the formation. So you've got an I for the tailback, weak for the fullback, right for the tight end. We have not declared the receivers, so the receivers know they now go to opposite sides. The X receiver will go opposite the tight end. The Z receiver will go to the tight end side. I, weak, right. Now the quarterback action, boot. He knows he's got a boot situation, and he knows that he's got a route tree coming up with routes. 8, 19. In the system that we're going to talk about today, we run the routes up from left to right. He runs an 8 route. So what is an 8 route? He's got a post route. That is an 8. 19, it tells the second eligible receiver he's running a 1 route. A 1 route is this right here. He comes here, and he's going to work like this. 9 is the third receiver. 1, 2, 3. The Z knows he's the 9. 9 is a fly route. He's going to run deep. Fullback opposite. tells the fullback that he's going to come and run opposite the flow and get into that action. And for bootleg, the tailback here's bootleg. He knows that he's got to run a run play fake opposite direction. Quarterback is going to reverse pivot out. He's going to fake this handoff to the running back. He's going to run a bootleg action, and he's coming out looking for his receivers. I weak right, boot, 8-19, fullback opposite. The opposite told the fullback opposite the flow of the run game. That's I weak right, boot, 8-19. Now we're up to the pre-snap read. Now, a guy like Peyton Manning, he wants to get to the line of scrimmage as soon as he can. He wants that defense to be identified. What is he looking for? First off, what personnel group is in the game? He knows what personnel group he has in the game. We'll talk about that a lot during this DVD. But he wants to see, is the defense in base? Is the defense in nickel? Is the defense in dime? Are they in a four-man front? Are they in a 4-3 front? I'm going to go to the board in a minute and show you some of the things he looks for in his pre-snap read. But the things he also wants to know is, where's that will linebacker going to line up? Is he in a blitz formation? This guy does a lot of work, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. They understand by alignments where people might be and what they might be doing from those things. So alignments become critical. You, the fan, can do the same thing. Study the game, watch the game, understand where they blitz from, and then when you see that will linebacker sneak out to a spot like Peyton does, you too can anticipate the blitz. A lot of other things are going to go on with the snap count. A lot of guys in this league use a dummy count. They're going to get up to the line of scrimmage. They're going to make believe they're really snapping the football just to force the defense to identify the truth. On defense, they call it sugaring the safeties. What's that mean? The two safeties are going to stand real high on the field. They're going to try to not give the quarterback a read. Once that quarterback starts that dummy count, the safety that's really coming down into the box to be part of the run support will start to shake down. That'll tell the quarterback what's going to go on. Often you'll see a guy like Tom Brady back right out after that. Now he knows strong safety insertion, weak safety insertion, and he'll operate from the information he got. So let's go to the board. Let's talk about a few things. Okay, when the quarterback comes to the line of scrimmage, he's going to want to do what? He's going to want to find out what those safeties are doing. That's his primary pre-snap read. By giving that dummy call that we talked about, maybe the free safety shakes down into the box. If he shakes down into the box, he knows a lot of things are going to happen. He knows it's 8 in the box. He also knows they've made a run defensive call. He might want to audible the play. Sometimes a guy like Troy Polamalu starts down in here, hopes the quarterback checks to a pass, and then he shakes back out. So pay attention to the safeties just like the quarterbacks do. The receivers and the quarterbacks are going to take a look at those cornerbacks. Pre-snap read. Is that cornerback inside? Is he telling the offense that we're going to be in man-to-man coverage? This is a man-to-man look. Is he on the outside? If he lines up outside, typically we'll make a decision. It's a zone call. That'll change your route. Okay, he'll look now for the inside linebackers. He'll look for a will linebacker. Where's that will backer? Is the will backer starting to do something like this? Does it suggest that they might be blitzing the backers? So alignment of the players has a lot to do with pre-snap reads. Also, they'll take a look at where the nose tackle is. Typically in a huddle, we might say, it's a run, check with me at the line. What does that tell the quarterback? We're going to find the nose tackle, and then we're going to run opposite where he lines up. So if the nose tackle comes to this side, and we said, run, check with me at the line, we're going to run the football this way. If that nose tackle happened to be here, they'll motion the fullback over here and run the football that way. Those are the things that go on in a pre-snap read. Okay, it's time to talk audibles. Now, in the National Football League, you don't get away with running the play in the huddle every time you come to the line of scrimmage. You need a flexible system. You got to be able to change the play when you get up there. A lot of things happen. A veteran quarterback is going to see coverages he wants to take advantage of. The line might be shifted from an under front to an over front. We'll get into all that for you later, and that's going to dictate things. Okay, 3 ways we're going to change a play. Sometimes we say in a huddle, check with me at the line. We didn't even call a play in the huddle. You think a play was called in a huddle, fans. Nothing was called. We go out in a formation. We see what defense you're in. We're going to run the ball either left or right, depending on that. That's check with me audibles. Then we have a pure audible system. It's used with a hot color most of the time. When I ran this system, we used a different color every quarter. Red in the first quarter, white in the second quarter, blue in the third quarter, black in the fourth quarter, and that was the hot color. That meant every time we came to the line of scrimmage, we yelled a color and a play. The players paid no attention to it unless it was the hot color. So if we're in the first quarter, red's the hot color, and up there going, blue 229, blue 229, we're running the play in the huddle. If I go up there and say red 229, we're changing now to 229. All right, and that also has to dictate how we're going to change the snap count. The way we did it was the first number of the hot play called became the snap count. Red 229, you know red meant change it. You knew 229 was the new play, and that first two meant we're going to snap the ball on two. That was a system we like to use. And you can also get into a system where you might go up with 3 plays. Now, that's a little complicated, but you get up there and say, okay, well, here are the 3 plays. Let's go see what's going to happen. We do that a lot more in a 2-minute drill. We're going to run up with a bunch of plays in our mind. Understand the audible system. Understand why we're going to do it. Now, cadence becomes important in the whole thing. A lot of times, the good quarterbacks are going to come up and start a cadence to see what happens when I motion a player across. Let me go to the board and show you what happens. I've called blue 229. Now I take my Z receiver, and during the cadence, I start motioning him. And as soon as I motion him, I realize that you back him off and you bring him in. As soon as I see that, I don't want to be running that play now. I don't want to run that power play that this motion might have dictated to the defense. I want to run something like this to the wide receiver. So I will now change the play. Blue 229, he starts in motion. Check, red, 816. And we're going to now know in the hot call, and we're going to be able to run the play. That's the audible system in the National Football League. It's complicated. It has to be used. It has to be implemented. Teams that get caught without an audible system, defenses now dictate the game. Okay, it's now time for post-snap reads. Nice talking about audibles, nice talking about a pre-snap read. All that stuff is a hint, but it's not a reality. The reality is the ball snapped. We must react to what happens on the football field. That's post-snap read. I'm going to talk to you, and I'll go to the board in a minute, talk about route adjustments if it's a pass play. You can never be a play late. Post-snap reads is what that's all about. So let's get to the board. Let's show you what happens when we're dealing with a post-snap read. Example, we have a pass play called. These guys are in protection. They're like this. That's what they were told to do in the pre-snap play call. The quarterback's taking a 5-step drop. The receiver, we talked about the route tree before. The receiver was called to run what? A fly route. This receiver was called to run an out route. He was called to run another fly route. Okay, that sounds great, but in the post-snap read, this corner wasn't in here, which is the guy we'd like to beat on a short route. This corner, as the cadence started to back up and landed up playing deep. This safety went to the deep middle. This safety came into the box. This corner backed up. What happens in the post-snap? I can't run a 9 route anymore. I can't run against that soft coverage. I got to run a stop route, a 2 route. That's a post-snap read adjustment. Okay, what happened over here? This outside linebacker didn't blitz, so I have no one to block. He starts to drop. I don't sit here and do nothing in a post-snap. I convert to a swing route. What happens over here? He blitzed. The strong safety who came up was a blitzer. I pick up the blitzer. Post-snap read. He dropped off soft, but I also know that he's the first read. I've got to make an adjustment. I can't time my route to the first read. The quarterback's going to come looking here. He wants to see that stop route. The outside linebacker started to take it away. He's got to make a post-snap read. The quarterback, he's got to come off number 1. He's got to go find number 2. Oh, by the way, number 2, outside linebacker had a bracket on. He's got to find number 3. But this guy, number 3, knows not to go deep, which is the route called in the huddle. He knows he's the third read. He knows he's got soft coverage. He converts his to a 4 route, a post-snap read. Now, I know Eli Manning became a good quarterback. You know how I knew that? Amani Toomer. Amani Toomer was always the number 3 read, this play right here. When Eli Manning stopped forcing the ball to Plaxico Burress, stopped worrying about getting the ball to Shockey, and started finding his third read, I knew Eli Manning had figured out his post-snap reads. Post-snap reads, the reality.